My name's Amy Critchley. I'm a commissioning manager for planned care at Gloucestershire CCG. When I completed the School for Change, I was actually a assistant general manager for gastroenterology, renal and hepatology at Gloucestershire Hospital's NHS Foundation Trust. When I was in my previous role, I was really interested, kind of coming out of sort of that initial post-COVID world, I suppose, um, to really just kind of start expanding my knowledge and start kind of finding new skills and learning new things. I started that role 2 months before the first wave of COVID, so I very much was doing a brand new job that got completely turned upside down, and the whole NHS world turned upside down by COVID. So kind of the turn of last year, when things were beginning to improve, I sort of thought, okay, I've got a bit of time and space now to put myself out there and learn some new things, learn some new skills. So I saw School for Change was advertised and thought that sounded like a really great starting point, just in terms of obviously this new world that we were entering into. I was kind of aware that we were going to need to start changing the way that we did things because of backlogs, and just because we had naturally changed some of our processes, and I just wanted to keep that momentum going. I didn't want to lose that momentum. A big believer that kind of change and innovation is really, really important. So yeah, signed up to do School for Change. Reached, just sort of casually put on Twitter that I was taking part in it, and was anyone else taking part in it? Had anyone previously taken part in it? What were people's opinions? And somebody who worked in the trust, that I wouldn't normally come across, reached out to me and said, "Oh yes, I'm doing it, and actually a couple of my colleagues are doing it as well. Do you want to? We're thinking of doing a study group. Would you like to join our study group?" So I thought, well, this is really interesting. Not only am I going to learn some new things and gain some new skills, I'm going to meet some new colleagues and do a bit of networking. So I agreed, and we set up kind of like a weekly study group or a study club. And actually, because they were colleagues that I wouldn't necessarily normally come across or work particularly closely with, it helped start shape that kind of rounded understanding of how we all fit into this larger NHS landscape. And anything I do has an effect on somebody else, which has an effect on somebody else, and we need everyone's bit of the picture, or everyone's little bit of an opinion, to keep a ball rolling and keep things moving forward. Despite the fact I don't work in the trust anymore, we're still all in contact with each other. We pass things on to each other if we think that there are things that each of us might be interested in, as a learning opportunity, or have you seen this, or do you know about this? So we've really, from School for Change, created quite a strong bond with each other, and that's been so beneficial. I can't speak highly enough of it, really. To then be able to bring it into this new organisation has been really beneficial. It's made me certainly like I say, be a champion of bringing everyone's opinions together, being a champion of listening to everyone and making sure that we're involving everyone that needs to be involved. And I suppose, to a certain extent, in the same way that everyone in my study group has become a little bit of a cheerleader for me outside of the organisation, I've become a cheerleader for them. So, if I see on social media that they've been having a bad day, or, anything like that, we're there for each other. We've become this kind of, yeah, like I say, this little squad of cheerleaders. So when they're feeling a bit frustrated that they can't make the changes, or that they're not being listened to, or what have you, I'm here saying, well, go on, carry on, keep going, you can do it, look at what we learned, bring everything into it, have you thought about, and all of those sorts of things. So I think that networking has been really useful. we were all coming from it from different working backgrounds. You do then get a different breadth of knowledge. So obviously my previous role was in ops management. If I'd sat with a group of ops managers to go through change agents, we'd have all had quite a similar experience and a similar opinion to the things that we were learning. Whereas I'm an ops manager, the people I was doing School for Change with, worked kind of in finance and project management-y type roles. So they've got a different breadth of knowledge, and we were able to learn about that and learn about, I guess, the importance of everybody's roles and what individuals can bring to the table. So there's no singular decision, and there's no singular right or wrong answer. Everyone's opinion, and everyone's going to look at stuff from a slightly different standpoint, and none of that is particularly wrong, but that's how it shapes things going forward. It has taught me about kind of bringing all of that together, and how do we find then the common denominator in everyone's opinion, because there will be something, there will be a thread through the middle of it. It's just how do you kind of swim through all of that and find it. I would say that I am a change agent, or I definitely embody being a change agent, let's put it that way. I think that maybe it was something that was naturally already in me, and I just needed to do School for Change to kind of awaken that, I think. But doing School for Change has made me more confident in kind of asking those difficult questions that I might not necessarily have felt confident in asking before. And I think it's those difficult questions that help drive change and innovation. I think it's given me more of a confidence to sit there and sit back and look at things more objectively to move things forward. And I certainly feel more confident with being able to say, I know that we've done this way for the last 10 years, but what happens if we change it and do it this way? Whereas I think previously I might have thought that but never voiced it. I mean, when we look at everything that's going on with elective recovery at the moment, and as I say, I'm working as part of a planned care team in the CCG, I feel much more comfortable now being able to, talk about innovation or look at other people's innovation and say, well, can we bring this in here? I've researched this, and so's doing this, and we might not be able to do it exactly that way, but I think that this would work for our population. I do keep being that person that just sort of says, why are we doing it that way? Why are we doing it that way? Can we do it a different way? Can we look at this from a slightly different angle? And I'm just there doing that, or under the surface, and eventually it'll go somewhere. Even if I can't drive that change, I'm at least starting the conversation, which for me is a winner. And I'm a big believer in kind of that whole sort of positivity has that ripple effect. If we're being positive about what we're doing, positivity breeds positivity, and hopefully that goes somewhere. I think the sense of community and the sense of networking are hugely, hugely important. It felt really powerful to know that actually I wasn't on my own, because they also wanted to make changes. And then that made me feel kind of, well, if I thought I was on my own, and to a bit they thought they were on their own, then there must be lots of people that think that they're on their own. So actually, let's all just come together and create this movement almost. I would say that's definitely the biggest strength, because I think there's strength in numbers, isn't there? There's an empowerment in knowing that you aren't alone. There's empowerment in being able to discuss your ideas with people. And then I would say that the other sort of strength of the School for Change is just, I suppose, just bringing change to the forefront, because I think we all think about it to a certain degree. I think that a lot of us get frustrated that we can't make change, or that change feels impossible to make it happen, and we don't necessarily know why. We just feel like we're part of this system where change is impossible. So being able to do School for Change and understanding, the different hierarchical cultures and organizational culture. And there was a really strong piece I remember in School for Change about, the power of personal story and the power of personal thought. I'm interested in this because this person's given me a personal tale or a personal experience, and I'm already invested, and that's why I'm invested, because they've given me a personal experience. I think it just solidified the things that perhaps I did know at the back of my mind but had never really shone a light on or thought about in much detail. I think the power of being a movement, of being a change agent, of being a collective of change agents is really important. That's half the, like we said, that's half the battle with change, isn't it? Is feeling that you are on your own with it, you don't know where to go with it, you don't know where to take it. So if we've got shared knowledges, we can share with each other. I'm a big believer in the power of sharing. I would guess that a lot of us have got quite inquisitive minds. That's why we want to make changes. We need to harness that. We need to take that forward. We need to take people's inquisitiveness and use it rather than lose it. I honestly feel like it changed my mindset of what I was capable of achieving. And I would like to think that it would do that for other people. So I will extol the virtues of School for Change until I can't extol them anymore.